Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Strange Saturday Super Show. This week, we are going to be tackling Latex Avenger, and as you can see, we are not alone. We are joined by the creator of Latex Avenger, Dan Price. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, thank you so much for having me to talk about. Oh my God, we're going to talk about this. Thank you for having me on to really talk about Latex Avenger. Sorry, there's a dog running up the stairs.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. Anyway, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So you wrote the book, and you, I think, illustrated early issues, but not really the ones that we read outside of a little bit of the 24-hour one, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm just going to read out some of the other people who worked on the book so that they can get their credit. So for Wrath of Khan, Bon Adam was the artist.
Bon Adami.
You see, yeah. I mispronounce everyone's name. It's good that you're here and you'll know it, so you can correct me.
He's a very important person in the story behind the story of Latex Avenger. So, gotcha. Yeah, we'll talk about
Bon. Then on the 24-hour challenge, there was a bunch of people. Barry Comp, I think, co-wrote it with you, if that is correct.
Correct.
The artists were Devin Lawson, also Bon Adam, Shane Campos, Barry Comp, and Michael Morrow. Okay, good.
Yeah,
just make sure you're right.
You did and Halloween pronunciation the second time in a row.
Yeah, Shane Campos.
Oh God, Katie, why do you let me do this? Katie's so much better pronouncing names, and yet I'm doing this. Halloween Man, Drew Edwards wrote the story, and I think you guys co-wrote the script. If that's correct. The artist was Paul J. Hernandez. The colorists were April Guardiona and Halo Seraphim, with letters also by April Guardiona.
Yeah, Guardiana. Yeah. So, great group of people. All of them, every single one of them.
And there have been a lot of hands on the Latex Avenger.
Yeah, there's been, those. It morphed and changed. I don't know if you want to just kind of jump into it, but I mean, in terms of who we all worked with, or you want to ask me questions.
I mean, why don't we? I feel like the place to start is at the beginning, right? So I've got two questions here, and you can choose to answer them in whatever order you want. The first one is this the first book you ever did? And the second one is, how did you come up with the idea for Latex Avenger?
Officially, Latex Avenger is the very first comic book I ever made. That would be yes. When I was very young, I lived outside of Houston. I lived outside of Houston in a town in an area called Clear Lake, right across the street in a neighborhood that was across the street from the Johnson Space Center. Okay, and in that neighborhood there was a comic book shop, and they had a studio. This was 1993. 94, 92, 94. And they had their own studio, and they were making indie comics. Image Comics had already happened, and so now everybody was getting the indie wave. And so these guys had gotten together and making their own comics. So me being like the sniveling kid, hanging around the comic shop, hanging around in the back, learning how to, do things like, fill in the blacks and erase all this crap and, color this, and they put me to work, which was great, absolutely fantastic. They offered me my first book when I went to college. I got offered my first comic, and I was a snotty little shit. I was a snotty little bastard of a child, and walked into art. I walked into college into my art classes thinking I knew this and I knew that, and and when the studio in Houston, when they ran out of funding, I just, was just acting like a little shit about it, I'm sure. And so I didn't pick up making comics again until I was actually 30. And my very first comic was Latex Avenger. So.
I mean, what a way to burst back into things.
And burst he did, didn't he? So here's the thing. I was working as a bartender, and I was trying to come up with, humorous Jewish greeting cards. Okay. I'm Jewish. I'm a member of the tribe. The one thing that we do not have as a community, as a society, as a whatever, we do not have humorous cards. Okay, they're all the most boring. It's a picture of menorah. It's just the same bar mitzvah cards and Hanukkah cards year in and year out. There's nothing nowadays. It's a little better, but so I wanted to come up with humorous Jewish greeting cards, and me and my sister, my brother-in-law, we decided to come up. We came up with a card line. Okay. And we designed it's going somewhere. I promise you. I swear to God.
No. I like getting the hole filled up. That's the best part.
We did this thing where we came up with this funny, irreverent greeting card line. Okay, and it was about a grandmother and a grandfather and their granddaughter and their grandson. And these characters played out all the little cards. Okay, and they were cute and they were funny and we took them to New York City, to the Javits Center, to the big convention there. And we went to other conventions and we, kind of like slinging comic books, what I mean? Trying to find people to pick up your line and that sort of thing. Well, what ended up happening was that failed. Okay, that didn't work out. We tried. We gave it the old college try, but there just wasn't at that point in time, there really just wasn't a market there. And we didn't have the right thing or whatever. It just wasn't the right fit. But what I did have was this grandfather. Okay, I had this grandfather character, and if you read the 24-hour issue, you saw him, and that grandfather is my grandfather. Okay, because all the people in the card line were made after my family. Okay, and so that grandfather is actually, if you look right there, that stand up.
Oh my
God! Yeah,
that's him.
Okay.
That went with us to New York City, okay, in 2004 or something like that. And I've had that for years. I mean, for years and years and years. And I had these characters, okay, and I just gotten done doing this fun and cute card line, like 38 cards, all these different products and different things they could go on, blah, 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 blah. And I was done with cute, and I wanted to do something raunchy. Okay, I wanted to do something different. That's the answer. Anytime I do anything in comics or art or whatever my little passion is at that time, it's always, why did you do that? Because I wanted to do something different. And I wanted to do something so different from cute and cuddly. I wanted to do something Family Guy on steroids turned up to 11. Let's be ridiculous. And because I like ridiculous, you know what I mean? And so, I remember also, this is a really well-braided story, I'm telling you. I remember being in Mexico, and as a kid, I was 12 years old, and my grandparents took me on a cruise. And there was this guy wearing a T-shirt, and it said, Condom Man. And the world had never needed him more than they do. I'm 12 years old, and I see this thing stuck in my head. I've gotten done with this comic book, this card line. That's done. I need a new project. Well, there's this condom guy that I never forgot about. And, and it was just this cheesy T-shirt. It was that you would buy on the beach, costs you get 3 for $10 or something like that. You wash it once and it fell apart. You know what I mean? I've done enough cruises, where I've done that. You know what I mean? So I don't buy the shirt anymore, but hey man, cool. So the shirt guy, I never forgot him. I always loved the idea. I loved Family Guy at the time. I can't stand it now. But I loved Family Guy. Well, it's so pretentious, isn't it? I mean, come on, really. I mean, anyway. But I used to love it. And so it was I wanted to do something like that, but I always wanted to do a superhero action book. So just kind of marry it together. And so I came up with all these stupid names, and Latex Avenger was the one that stuck. And it was, he has a rubber on his head. He's got a sidekick, spermicidal foam lad. Together, they repel crime 99.9% of the time. And
it's going to pick visual aid up for people watching
there you
the video.
Yeah.
They can see them.
And spermicidal foam lad was, he was kind of based on the kid from the comic line, but not really. My sister always said he was, but I always drew him different from each other, so she couldn't get pissy about it, But the grandparents are 100% my grandparents, 100 pure and true. And if there's any character, like, you know, when people talk about you write what you know and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
and there's always a bit of you in a book. Yeah, my contribution, my little me in Latex Avenger is Spermicidal Foam Lad. He's my homeboy, dude. I
that's
love
perfect.
Spermicidal Foam Lad. As much as I enjoyed the book at large,
Yeah.
Spermicidal Foam Lad is like my little voice of reason in a world of chaos, you know. And
Yes.
yeah, I'm babbling. Why don't y'all talk?
No, that
it's
was
great.
fantastic. That was firstly didn't know you ever worked on greeting cards, or you know, that's such an interesting transition, like back into comic books.
Yeah, very comic strip-esque almost with the family of characters. It's especially funny to me that you mentioned that you're always trying to pivot and do something different from what you previously did. Because as mentioned, we're both big fans of Bigfoot Knows Karate, one of your current series. And going from that to the Latex Avenger was such a just bucket of cold water. So, oh my gosh, this is not what I was expecting at all. But it's so much. It's just goofy fun, which is what you want from a condom themed superhero.
Yeah.
I would actually love to ask you about your character design process for these guys. The Latex Avenger himself is so funny conceptually, and then in execution it absolutely follows through. And you did the art for the first couple of issues, and so I can only imagine that the character design was your birthing as well.
In the first issue, he didn't even have the logo on his chest. Only Spermicidal Foam Lad had Ruben. We'll just call him Ruben. It's easier. Only Ruben had the Sperm Lightning logo on his chest. So in the first issue, he didn't even have that. And yeah, that's Sperm Lightning right there.
Yeah.
So he didn't have that. And then they both got it in issue 2 miraculously because it was a 2-parter. There was no way for him to change costumes. He was literally hung over a vat of acid or something like that. And miraculously, his costume changed. So it's okay. I changed the name of the city later and told no one, you know, so we'll get to that. Well, I mean, look, it's not like I'm trying to write Crisis on Infinite Earths. First of all, you know, it's a comic about a dude wearing a rubber on his head. You know, I figure I got a little latitude here and there to mess with things. And that was the first and last 2-parter I ever did for Latex Avenger, because doing 2-parters in that type of story is unnecessary. One issue, one and done, to make it easy. In total, there were, I want to say there were like 7 or 8 Latex Avenger books in total. And that included regular issues and then what we called quickies, which were just like little short books, okay, that were just like little 6-page comics. And
was the speed dating like that? The speed dating one that's in the back?
Yeah, that was one of the quickies.
That's such a fun one. That was the one that I really enjoy. That's so much fun.
Ludicrous Speed Dating was a good time. That was Bond's first work. That was Bond's first work that he ever did, not first he did for me. He did a couple of small things, and then he came on and started doing more and more Latex Avenger stuff with me, and then we co-created a book together after that. So 2 projects. So
I think that leads a little nicely into my next question, because this is, I want to say, before the days of like Kickstarter books becoming bigger. I think so. How did you release these? What was the process? You know, how did you get these 2 people?
It was so hard. I will just say that right now. It was so hard. You had to go to conventions and set up, and you'd have to go to comic book stores and peddle them store by store. You know, that part really hasn't changed. You still do that, you know what I mean? But now there's Kickstarter and Indiegogo if you like to go that route. There's so much that you can do, you know, to get the word out. Like I had Facebook when I first did Latex Avenger was 2007. It was March of 2007. And I went to my very first convention on March 3rd of 2007 and took it with me 100 copies of the book. And that's all I had. I didn't know what I was doing. I had nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the lettering on the first issue, you can tell I really had no idea what I was doing. I mean, it was so bad. And I brought 100 comics with me, and that's all. And I moved to Austin on the Friday. The comic show was on the Saturday. My books arrived at my apartment on the Thursday. So my books arrived at my apartment before I did. So they were literally sitting in a box on the front stoop of my apartment, waiting for me to get there, as I'm praying that there's no rain as I'm driving, driving from city to city to get to my new place. And anyway, so I go into this convention. It's called Staple, the Independent Media Expo, which is actually going to be taking place April 13th and 14th, 2024 here in Austin. Please, if you're in the area, come check it out. It's my very first convention. It's my first love of conventions, and it's back for its first time since awesome. COVID. So anyway,
guessing you'll be there.
I will definitely be there. If I wasn't, I wouldn't be pitching it as hard as I am. So we go, and me and my girlfriend at the time, who was just a terrible time in my life. One of those people I'm sorry to do this. I have to bring up something sad because I have to give her credit and something. The best thing we didn't have a lot of good times, but the best thing that she brought to Latex Avenger was she was the one who, when I showed up with my comics and that's all I had, she goes, "Do you have a tablecloth? No. Do you have this? No. Do you have that? No." And I'm like, no. She goes, "I'll be back." And she came back with a tablecloth, a big bag of Hershey Kisses, and in a bowl, and about 24 packs of rubbers. Okay. And yeah. And so she put the comics and fanned them out, put the condoms and spread them out, put the candy right in the middle. She goes, "You got kisses, you got rubbers, you got comics, you're ready to go." And
what more could anyone ever want?
Convention, and let me tell you something. There was not I am so grateful for things work out the way they're supposed to work out, right? Things were not supposed to work out with her, but she was a good marketing mind, and she saw something in a way. I will always be grateful for her for that, because I had 100 comics, and on that day I sold 85 comics and gave away a lot of rubbers. Okay, so we figured out quickly what worked. And so that she came with her Trojan condoms, and that's the story. So so I figured we got something here. We got something. I don't know what it is, but we got something. And in 2007, March 3rd at Staple, Latex Avenger was just erupted on the public. So there you go.
Erupted, he did.
Yeah, I can't believe I used that phrase, but then again, I write this crap, so yeah.
But that wasn't the last time that you provided the services of condoms at conventions. You showed us a little something before we hit record.
So I found this website called, I think it was called condomman.com, and they sold Durex condoms, purple Durex condoms. I bought stickers. I had those applied. I just put stickers on there, and then with a shitty little label on the back. Here, if I can get there, you go.
There it is. LatexAvengerComics.com.
Fantastic advertising.
And I would put these out on my convention, on my table, and people would walk by, and it's kind of covered in Wrath of Khan, the issue that y'all have. That's based on a lot of true stories that happened at comic conventions, kind of. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, I don't wear. Yeah, but there's people come up to the table and they would pick it up and they would go. They'd say a lot of different things to me. I was called godless. That was probably my favorite.
Which I think
that you put into the book. Yeah. I do believe. Yeah.
That was my favorite. One guy asked me, "What am I supposed to do with this?" I told him he needs to go away from the table because I'm no good for him. My favorite also was when somebody would come by on a Friday and say and look at it and laugh, and on a Saturday would come by and thank you. That was another favorite of mine. Yeah, I mean, it was fun for all, I guess. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Some real life superheroics.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. It was a good marketing gimmick. People gravitated to it. You know, it definitely helped move some issues. That's for sure. So, yeah, it was fun. You know, I mean, it was the book is the book is fucking ridiculous. Okay, I mean, like I'm the first to admit it. You know, It was just, but it's such a. I don't. You know, look. He says nothing good. He brings nothing good to the table. Okay, he never did. Okay,
and he was instrumental, though. In
yeah, but he was instrumental. There you go. Yes, you know it's funny. Yes. Because I looked at that issue last night or the night before because I knew I was going to do this. Yeah, and it was one of those lines that made me laugh. I was instrumental in our victory. You know, I was like, "Hell yeah, you were, son." Go ahead, buddy. You keep thinking that. So anyway,
but I think unless Katie wants to touch on something if you want to jump, I want to transition into talking about the 24-hour book because that is such a fascinating idea that I think you said you didn't quite manage to hit the 24 hours, but you attempted to make this book in 24 hours with 8 people working on it?
5, 6, something like that.
Something like that. So quite a few people working on it, 24 hours. How do you approach that?
Okay, so can I backtrack a minute?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. To understand the 24-hour day and Latex Avenger, they kind of went hand in hand with each other because I met Bonadami on my first 24-hour comic book day. And I was working on what ended up being Quickie number 2. And it was like a 5-page, 6-page story. It was nothing major. But I was just, I'm going to do this in 24 hours. This was my fun attempt to knock out, the 6-page story in 24 hours, penciled, inked, and ready to go. Mm-hmm. And Bon was sitting over next to me. And Bon was 11 years my junior. And he was sitting at the same table next to me, he was next to me at the table. And this weird, odd, strange, melon-headed dude and I just hit it off like nobody's business. And we laughed and we had the same kind of sense of humor. And he kept looking at my script I was working on and just going, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're going to say that. Oh my God, I can't believe you're going to say that. That's hilarious. Should I change it? No, you got to keep it." But I can't believe it was funny, and so we just, had the same sense of humor and hit it off. And I said to him before the end of the 24 hours, he was working on something called Slicker in the Rain. I'll never forget that. And it was cool. And I said to him, if you ever want to work on a Latex Avenger book, please let me know. And he goes, "Oh no, man, no, I've got my own ideas and my own things. I'm going to do my thing, man." I said, "Okay, hey, dude, well, I had to ask, but I appreciate you, good meeting you. Here's my card." I gave him my business card and that was the end of that. 3 days later, "Hey, man, I want to work on a Latex Avenger book with you." Well, all right, we're going now, boy. And which was great because, I was going through, remember I mentioned that Family Guy look and feel and the mix was super. I was trying to accomplish something like that wasn't working out visually. And I wasn't hitting the creative. I wasn't the right artist for the book. I knew that. I needed somebody else. Bond was my guy. As soon as I saw what he was capable of doing, Bond was my guy. And we adopted each other. And he just became my little brother. And we off to the races we went. We did. We traveled together. We work on the book together. He'd randomly show up at my fucking apartment, out of nowhere. "Hey, man, I want to order a pizza." And, he worked industry, he was a bartender, waiter, that type of thing. So he didn't get off on Christmas. He only had Christmas Day off. So he never went home. And since I was I had just broken up with that woman I mentioned earlier, and I wasn't going, I don't celebrate Christmas, so I didn't give a shit. So we do Christmas together, and we grill steaks and, and that was our Christmas. And I mean, so we just became like really close really fast. And we did that, and we went to second 24-hour comic book day, which is where we pick up with your answers. So we've done 24-hour comic book day. Used to be very much a thing here in Austin, especially. Like there was a lot of people who were really interested in doing it. And that year we decided to go gung-ho and like just do a full-on, let's go for it. 24 pages, 24 hours. We got a banger lineup of creators. Let's just do this. And let me tell you something. That was fun. That was fun.
I think you get a lot of that in the when you read it. I think you get a lot of that when you read it. Like it feels like you guys had a lot of fun.
We laughed so hard. One of the guys, Mike, he kept electrocuting himself. I don't know how he was doing it, but he kept touching a. We had and I think I brought it. I think I'm the asshole here. We brought I brought an extension cord, a power strip. Right. But he touched it once by accident, and he said, I don't know if he had his metal pencil in his hand or something like that. And then he goes, "Oh no, did I just get electrocuted?" And he goes, touches it again. And I said, "I only feel bad for the first one, son. The rest of it, you're just ridiculous." So anyway, so it was Mike Morrow. He did a book called Atom Bug. He's a good guy. Mike's a good guy, despite our differences. Mike, you're a good guy. And then Shane Campos, who is dude, Shane's amazing. Shane just did a thing called Berserk, and I can't remember the name of his publisher that he's working with. Rocket Ship. I think it's called Rocket Ship. Anyway, check them out. But Shane's artwork is just so. Hold on.
Oh.
I don't have any of his Latex Avenger stuff in front of me, but Shane did this, and I love this.
That is awesome.
So much. I think this is so amazing, and I have pushed Shane so many times to do something with this character and make a book out of it, because this is amazing. I'm sorry. That's
for anyone listening, a very noble and quite serious unicorn with a longsword atop a mountain of ice cream.
Atop a mountain of ice cream. I mean, anyway, Shane's an amazing artist, and he was on board. Barry, one of the funniest guys in the world, and also a nerdcore hip hop rapper. At least at the time, I don't know if he does that now. But there was a large nerdcore scene in Austin for a while, and Dallas too. I don't know if it still is a thing, but they were rappers and writing would write music about you know what it is, right?
Yes,
nerdcore.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll shut the fuck up. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Okay. Doug Funny and what was this? DJ Rockman, and there's so many guys. Barry Comp who worked under the name Bad Barry, and Miller Hooks, and all these guys. They were amazing. They were absolutely amazing. And there were all these nerdcore shows here in town. And so we would actually set up at the nerdcore shows with all our comics and stuff. And so Bad Barry actually did a Latex Avenger. Yes, it's on YouTube. I will send you the link if you want to see it.
Oh my God, yes.
But and
we'll put it in the description. So finish this interview, and then I'm telling our viewers that I will put it in the description. So after they finish this, they can go and watch that as they should.
I will get you the link. It's on a hidden Latex Avenger website in the universe. So I'll send it to you.
Awesome, thank you.
It's just not activated right now. Anyway, but
putting the books out at those shows.
Say what? Say that again?
Yeah, you were putting the books out at those shows.
Oh, yeah,
you were all working together on this 24-hour comic.
So Bad Barry did the hip hop thing, and we were all. And so Devin Lawson, who works under the name, these are all the people who were just on that one book. Devin Lawson, who does, who is now, he goes by the name Spicy Donut online. Look at his work; it's incredible.
The pages that he did in that 24-hour show were absurdly good.
He did the cover and he did the front and first and last page of the book.
Yeah,
beautiful,
so good.
So good. And then and so so it was just the plot was just a way to switch artists and make it work, so every time they jump dimensions, the jumps with the artist, and so it just becomes it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, but doing it in 24 hours, oh my god, there was a lot of, and Bond, he's just grumpy, and and he's getting pissed off at Mike, and everybody's getting pissed off at Mike, and everybody, and just like no, it was great. It was a good time. Like, everybody was trying to be on all cylinders, although I'm asleep on a table at one point going, just yell at me if you need me for anything. I'm done with my 2 pages. I'm going to lay right here, because I was just quarterbacking most of the night. You know what I mean? Like, Barry and I had come up with a loose assemblage of what the story was going to be. And, we knew where we were going with this. And so it was like a lot of just kind of drawing my stuff, helping them over here. Well, what about this and what about that and whatever. I actually had a really easy night, all things considered. Poor Bond. Bond worked, how many pages he doing that? Like 12 or something like that in 24 hours?
Quite a few. Yeah. It was like 2 different groupings, right? Mm-hmm. There was like 3 pages here, 3. Yeah.
Yeah. He's Bond was a machine. Bond was an absolute machine. We worked together on a few things. I keep saying, Bond passed away. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Bond passed away. God, it's gonna be like, oh my God, it's so many years now, 6 years, and so it's real hard looking back at all of this without just missing a friend.
Oh,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean? Yeah, right. So I told you beforehand. I said there's a good chance I'm gonna cry on this thing, because anytime we talk about Bond, it's easy to do. His uncle died recently, unfortunately, and his aunt reached out to me and gave me this.
Oh my gosh! The wraparound.
That's incredible.
Too. It's signed by him on it. So.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. So.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I miss my buddy. I always do. It's really, that's like the one thing about Bigfoot Knows Karate. As much as I love doing it, it's like that I can feel him. I'm not even a religious person. I'm not a spiritual person. I'm not an anything kind of person. But that guy is standing right here while I'm drawing, going, "You're doing it wrong." That's not how you draw that. That's what's going on in my head anyway. So I miss him so much, like, because he would be having a blast with this stuff too.
Oh yeah.
So sorry for your loss, and
thanks,
I'm glad that we could partake in what you two were able to do together with Latex Avenger.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it enough to actually want to talk about it. It's crazy. So.
I mean, it was quite the idea to begin with. It's one of those things where once you hear it, you can't really unhear it. You gotta jump on just to sate your curiosity.
Yeah, absolutely.
So recently, he's actually resurged our Latex Avenger in a crossover book with Halloween Man. So what was it like to bring him out of retirement, essentially, for this, what was it, 2022 resurgence?
Yeah, it was, so it was funny. It was, this was, the story was a long time in the making. If you look in the back of that, if y'all both have that same cover, the very back of it is the same story written by another artist. That's my art.
Yeah, I saw those.
And I was going to do I was going to go back and do this story originally. It was going to be me who was doing the artwork, and then just life happened.
Yeah.
And this little Bigfoot thing that I've been working on.
That's the page I was looking at.
So that happened. So Paulo took over on the art. What happened was Drew came to me and said, "Hey man, I'd love to do a Latex Avenger meets Halloween Man, or Halloween Man meets Latex Avenger story." I said, "Yeah, that sounds cool." He goes, "Well, I wrote the script." And I was like, "Oh, wow. Well, there you go." And he wrote the script, and the deal was, like, it was his plot. he put the words down, and then I just took an eraser and I just erased all the things that Latex Avenger and Ruben said, and I just rewrote them in their language, their dialect, their jargon, their whatever. That was my big contribution to that book, other than saying, sure, make a comic, you know.
Gotcha.
I mean, look, I helped out and here and there. I did, you know, I was a part of the team, but it was like being on vacation in comparison to like cutting out a Bigfoot book. You know what I mean? Like trying to write, do all that, you know, all that stuff. Like this was like Drew had a script. And so we started the artwork years ago, and then we put it on hold, and then Paulo came in and took over the reins. And Paulo's an old friend. He's great. You know, Drew and I and Paulo, we've all known each other. I mean, at least 13 years now. Hell, Paula was at that 24-hour comic day where we did the Wrath of Khan book, not Wrath of Khan, where we did the 24-hour Excellent Adventure book. Paula was like 2 tables over.
Wow.
Working on his book called Lies My Motherboard Told Me. And it was cool. It was really cool. And so working on the Halloween Man thing was like it was like getting to hang out with your buddies, frankly, first of all. Like, it didn't feel like work anyway. Mm-hmm. It was just, you know, hanging out with your buds. And it was funny to bring him out of the mothballs, Latex Avenger out of the mothballs, because I said to Drew, by the time we committed to actually having Paulo start on artwork, don't you think we're kind of, you have a fan base, man. I don't want to piss them off, you know, because this may piss people off. And he's like, we're going to do it in a way that makes it work. And, you know, he goes, or we're doing it in a way that makes it work. And I'm like, because here's the rule on, if you read in Wrath of Khan, as well as in the Halloween Man book, he doesn't win. No. Have you ever noticed that? Like Latex,
he certainly doesn't. He gets his ass kicked. Yeah.
Okay, he even in his best moments, they just kind of ties or breaks even. You know, maybe get some moral victory in there somewhere, but he's usually going to walk out with his ass kicked for some reason, shape, or form. It's usually because of his mouth. You know.
Yes.
Oh my God. So I mean, I'm rambling right now because I'm having so much fun just even thinking about this stuff right now. I don't even know. Was there a question? Because I'm,
you know, I'm not sure where we started.
I think you hit the question.
Just kind of going through that,
bringing it back, and I think you hit there. You said that you were approached about it by Drew. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't, the crossover wasn't your idea, right? It was Drew came to you and wanted to do it. That's correct.
It was great. You know, I mean, Drew he made it so much fun. We had to obviously, like, there was a PG-13 thing, which is fine by me. That doesn't hurt my feelings. You know, it just means you have to be more creative in the way you write stuff instead of just saying fuck all the time. You know, I mean, and I do challenges with myself on Latex Avenger books, by the way. Like on this one, I'm not going to cuss and see how well I do. You know what I mean? Some ones I would, and sometimes I wouldn't. It was just dependent on the book. But anyway, but the 24-hour book, or the crossover was a blast to get back to it. Even if it's just for one time only, that's fine. You know, although
I think that opens up the question: is that the swan song for Latex Avenger, or is it still in your pocket for? Okay,
it's always in my pocket. But he's gonna die here soon. Actually, in the pages of the Convictor. Y'all know the Convictor?
Yes. Oh, I have one of the like rubber wristbands. I don't think I have it right here, but
okay.
Yeah.
Well, a while back when he was doing a couple campaigns ago, one of it was that you have your die in my book is what the tier was. So Latex Avenger is about to die in the new issue of Convictor. So
that's fantastic.
I've seen some of the artwork. I think it's going to be pretty gruesome because I haven't seen the kill. But so he is going to die. He is going to die in an issue of the Convictor. That doesn't mean he won't be resurrected, and you know, and I'll do something else with him again. But
Ghost Condom.
The problem is like, who the hell really wants to read it, though? Okay, I mean, if you think about it,
apparently
like,
these two idiots
has changed a lot, you know, and like, there's not a big what.
I said, apparently these two idiots. I mean, we asked you for it. We decided to do this. We did.
Okay, that's true. Okay, well, You're cut above, gang. It's I've thought about a lot of different ways where I could bring the character back and do like another issue. But I've learned a lot. I mean, look, I make some rules when I do podcasts. I don't talk about politics and I don't talk about religion. Okay. I won't do that. But for the sake of this discussion, I thought a lot about what would this kind of character be in the modern age? What kind of person would Latex Avenger be, who's this thick-headed, chauvinistic, would I really want to hang out with him? You know what I mean? And no was always the answer anyway to that, because like Latex Avenger's like that buddy that you have that he's got, hey, let's invite Sean out. Sean's great. We'll have Sean out. And 3 beers after, once Sean's had like 3 beers, you're like, can we get rid of Sean? Like, Sean's pissing me the fuck off.
Why did we invite Sean?
Inappropriate jokes, and he keeps looking at those ladies, howling at them, or whatever it is. Latex Avenger is Sean. You know what I mean? And I don't know a Sean that really fits the bill, but he's that guy. He's like, it sounds like a great idea at first, and then you get there, and then you're like, this is not a good idea.
I mean, I think one of the things that actually ages well with the book is what you brought up, that he doesn't win. Like, you read it and you don't particularly like him as a person, because he does embody all those things. You don't really play him
as a hero or as somebody who's justified. You very much play him as like, oh man, what the fuck is this dude doing?
He's an ego case. He's such an ego case. I mean, it's so. Yeah, I'm definitely. There's some scripts that have not made it into the light of day, like the stuff that I've written that has never been done. One book that I would do was, I have a 37-page book called Latex Avenger Meets the Masters of the Obvious Roasted and Fried All-Star Special. Okay, which was Bon and I's second book, was called Masters of the Obvious.
That was the book you did at Hound, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's great. Hound is such a big part of like my journey in my life, because that's where I got my start. Brimstone's the guy who let me write a comic for the first time. Yeah. So I'm really.
Did I know that about you?
Yeah, I think I had mentioned it to you offhand
a couple years back, right?
So I was gonna get to asking you about it. So it's perfect that you've kind of transitioned there. But what was your experience with kind of doing Masters of the Obvious at Hound?
Well, Masters of the Obvious at Hound started because I met this guy named Aton, who was doing marketing for Hound. We met over a cigarette outside at a convention. That's how business is done, folks. We met. He saw that I had. Look, I'm the kind of guy that when I go at a convention, even if I'm walking around just to go to the bathroom, I'll have a book under my arm.
Oh, yeah.
Because you never know who you're going to meet, okay? You know how that is. So I'm outside smoking a cigarette, and I got a copy of Latex Avenger right there, baby. And this guy and I start talking. He's like, so wait, what's that? I'm like, hey, this is what it is. And, we got to talking. And he goes, you got to come with me. You got to meet Brimstone, which, if you know Hound, you know Brimstone.
Yes,
and
I
he goes,
do.
you got to meet Brim. And so I go over, and he goes, you got to see this guy's book. And it's black and white, which Hound didn't like. I think this one was black and white. He didn't like black and white books, which I don't blame him, but we didn't have any money and we couldn't afford a colorist or to get it printed in color. So when we sold that book, we gave out 4 packs of crayons. I'm not kidding around. We gave out crayons with those issues. Rathacon and with the 24-hour book, they both came out with crayons. So he goes, we don't do black and white books, and I handed him crayons. They didn't do that. And so he said, I think this is, looks pro. It looks good. It's like, not pro, but y'all are getting where you need to go.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, but you got to get rid of the thing on his head, the reservoir tip of freedom.
No.
Yes, sir. You got to get rid of the thing on his chest. You mean sperm lightning? Yes, sir. And you probably need to change the name. Absolutely not. But I've got this other thing right here. It's called Masters of the Obvious. And it's about this, it's a sci-fi space parody. Like, I'm mesmerizing him. A sci-fi space parody. No, I told him about Masters. It was a sci-fi space parody, and it had characters like Dr. Biclops. He has 2 eyes. And the Visible Woman. You can't miss her. And Dorkulon, the geek robot. The Amazing Todd. What's amazing about him? What's not? And I got these guys out of order, so I'm all messed up. And LeBron the Snapping Turtle. Don't make him snap. You wouldn't like him when he snaps. And that was the Masters of the Obvious. They flew around in a battle toaster called the USS Screensaver, pictured right here on my arm.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And Bond drew that. I got that a couple years ago as a, Anyway, so you got the battle toaster called the USS Screensaver, and they fly around in the battle toaster having pop culture adventures throughout the galaxy. It was great. I mean, it was fun. It was a PG-13 with the same biting humor as Latex Avenger, non-sexual. You know what I mean? And Bryn was awesome to us. We did it as a webcomic. We did it as a weekly webcomic. It was the world's weekliest webcomic. We were late all the time. And I learned a lot from Brim.
Same here. He has a lot of knowledge about the industry and how things work. So shout out Brim.
Hell yeah! How did y'all still talk?
Yeah. Not as much as I'd like, but we still talk. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Brim sent his condolences when Bond passed. I appreciated that. He was good. Brim, I learned a lot about. I have ignored every rule he taught me in this one interview, but he taught me so much about how to do an interview, and so usually I'm pretty calm on these things. Today, though, getting to talk about this, I realize that if y'all are splicing this thing together, good luck. If you just run it in one shot, then
we'll run it in one shot. We might grab a clip or two for the shorts that you said you've seen on Instagram. We might grab a clip or two for that. But we run the whole thing usually with very little cuts. So
just good. It's like I didn't make it easy for you if I did, because I just went some Allen Ginsberg stream of conscience. Just beat poetry mess anyway. So but yeah, Brim is great, and I hope he's well. And I learned a lot from how to do interviews and how to work a convention and things like that. And we got to do Masters, which was a lot of fun. So which led me to what I was going to say earlier. Masters of the Obvious meets Latex Avenger comic book was what that book that brought us back over to that. Mm-hmm. So I've got that story in the can at some point that I'd like to unleash on the universe, because it's pretty screwed up.
Now with that, do the Masters of the Obvious get to jump up to the R rating, or is Latex Avenger pared down a bit to come to their level?
Okay, so that's part of the premise, actually, is because this intergalactic cougar is running rampant through the galaxy. This is the story that never will come out. I'll just tell you the premise now. Her intergalactic biological clock is ticking, and her needs must be satiated, or she's going to blow up the universe. Okay, that's the premise of the book. Well, the Masters are out in the future in space doing space things. And they see this, and Dr. Biclops sees this light, shine on him. It's beautiful. Oh my God. And he passes out. It's too much for him because he's PG-13.
Right.
So they have to get an R-rated hero from the past who can, of the sexual magnitude that can handle this intergalactic cougar. So they have this, it's so ridiculous. So they have this in the current time. There was Latex Avengers being roasted like a Comedy Central roast, but it's like a superhero roast, and his main upset he's going stag, so he's a little pissed off about this whole situation in the first place. So the Masters of the Obvious show up in the roast. Okay, they show up in the roast, and he thinks they're a gift. He thinks they're hookers, that somebody sent him hookers, and he goes, "Hey, all right, stag no more. Let's go, boys." I'm usually the redheaded would have been enough, but I'm game. I'm up for anything tonight. Some crap. Anyway, and that's how it kind of kicked off, and it was there's It's a good story if it would.
Yeah.
I think it's a funny story, but man, it's rough in a couple of places too. But I mean, then again, I told you there's some books that I said will never see the light of day, like they've been printed and they're done. If you can find one, good luck to you. But I mean, there was one where, no, I'm not even going to say.
Fair enough.
Because I mean, it's just so terrible. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but you know what? It was funny. It was bad. It was terrible. See, that's what I'm saying. It's one of those types of jokes. Like, it's like Family Guy. Well, it's funny, yeah, but it's really bad, you know, but it's funny.
Gotcha.
It's bad. But it's funny.
Oh, man.
Well, we won't press you on that, you know. Don't want to.
No, you're good. You're
get
good.
you in any hot water.
No.
So tell us every bad thing you've ever put in the book completely out of context so that we can clip it and make you look like an awful person. No.
No, I mean, it's, you know, I in one issue, I made Fozzie Bear offer Latex Avenger cocaine. That's true. Gary Coleman auditioned for the role of spermicidal foam lad. You know, let's see. Chevy Chase was in his Three Amigos outfit, and he got his head blown off by a character named Chauvinistro, who was the evil alternate reality counterpart to a character named Bicurio. You know, so it was our take on Mysterio. So you can say they all had fish bowls with fish floating in their eggs, and they were ridiculous. And there was Manibus, the kaiju pot monster. I mean, it was literally a kaiju made of weed. I mean, it was
clearly too soon appear in Bigfoot Knows Karate.
Oh yeah, any day now.
Wait, that's the crossover we're all waiting for.
Oh yeah. So that's Bigfoot Knows Karate was supposed to be a part of that universe originally.
Really?
Originally, it was supposed to be a comedy. I mean, it would be if it was called Bigfoot Knows Karate. I would normally think.
Right.
Unfortunately, we kind of turned the knob on that a little bit, but it was supposed to be a comedy. And it was supposed to be this Bigfoot is found in the woods. No, this Bigfoot gets into some sort of altercation. He gets hurt. And, you know, like by like a wolf or a bear or something huge or something like that. The master, you know, fights off the other animal and saves the Bigfoot and teaches the Bigfoot how to be a Bigfoot who does martial arts. And he goes on this, you know, and there's other students, and there's jealousy between the other students and the Bigfoot. And the other student like does this whole thing, and it's like he kills the master, and the temple explodes, and Bigfoot is forced to go on this Cain-like journey, you know, and he lands in like a suburb of Dallas, okay, and working at a mall, and like a corn dog on a stick, or a Cinnabon, or you know, something of that nature.
Oh my God!
He's going to junior college, and he's got a girlfriend who's like 13 months pregnant, but isn't showing. But it's not, you know. And he's got this roommate who just smokes dope all day, and you know, and there's probably something going on between the girl and the roommate, and it's like it wasn't. And he played Ultimate Frisbee. Yeah.
Oh my God. So obviously you went in a very different direction with the book.
It wasn't working for me, Joseph, Katie. It wasn't working for me, so that got shelved. The only thing I kept of that was the name Bigfoot Knows Karate, and just pinned that on the wall right over there. And it stayed there for years.
It's a fantastic name.
It's such a good name.
That was why I had to stay. You know, it was like, it's the only part of it that stayed, but it was the best part. You know, it was the name. Hopefully people think better of it than just the name now, but then the name was the best part then.
Oh, so. It's really, I'll say, in my opinion, it's fantastic. You do such a great job from everything, from like the tone that it conveys is so strong, and it's just... It feels like an epic that literally makes you forget that you're following somebody named Bigfoot Knows Karate, who like is a Bigfoot that knows karate, because it just is so epic and cool, and you get so into the action and the story going on there. So
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. I look at all the time that I've did Latex Avenger and stuff with such joy, but Bigfoot is like the most fun I've ever had in comics. And if you hear all the other stories, how much fun I had back then. You know, I mean,
it's
you
a
can
high
understand
bar.
how much fun I'm having now. You know, that's like the rule of comics for me, though. I can't make comics if they're not fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like my wife won't even let me. Like she's like, no, if you're not, because like when I left comics, you know, like because I took a break. I left in like 2014 after some things that happened. You know, just a lot of things that happened, and you know, and then you know, Bond passed and all of that. I was just like, I just couldn't, you know, and
Yeah.
then thank you Instagram really for getting me back into it, because I started drawing because I hadn't drawn for years. You know, I had Bond drawing things, I had other artists I was working with doing things.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't need to draw anymore, and I started drawing again, and drawing digitally and teaching myself some new tricks and doing things, and kind of got me back into doing comics. And then there was this fucking pandemic. I don't know if y'all heard about it, but this is fucking pandemic that just, you know, everybody was bored. You know, the least of our problems was everyone was bored. You know what I mean? But it was like,
but it was
but it's
part
what's
of
on
the
your
reality
mind constantly,
yeah.
because that's what's going on in your day to day. You're bored. You're sitting there. You know,
yeah,
it's valid.
They were so, you know, and that's how Bigfoot got born. You know, I originally thought about coming back and doing Latex Avenger again, and but then you know, it's like if I had done that, it would have been like the end of the Last Crusade, where he'd be like, "You chose poorly," you know, and I just turned into ash, you know. So I needed to do something different. You know, I needed to do something different. And I'm grateful for everything that happened with Bigfoot or with Latex Avenger and all the weird shit that's happened to me at conventions and all the fun stories we got to tell and all the other crazy stuff. But you know, like, I needed to be doing something different. You know, it was time to grow up and as a creator and try something a little different, for sure. Again, do something different.
There you go. And obviously it's turned out wonderfully. Bigfoot Knows Karate is such a treat to read and to look at. We've barely spoken about your art. Specifically, the Bigfoot Knows Karate art is immediately what sold me on it. You know, the name brought me in, but the art is what made me super excited. You're just incredibly talented, and I'd love to see it on the page.
And let me add to that, you have an incredibly distinctive style, which I feel like is getting increasingly rare in comics. You know, like there's becoming, and there's people who bridge out from it. I don't want to, you know, condemn an entire generation of artists. Not that anybody has done that recently. But you know, you have this unique style that, like, if I see a book drawn by you, especially in like the modern stuff that you've done with Bigfoot Knows Karate, I'm going to know that it was drawn by you because it is that distinctive vibe, and it works so well with Bigfoot Knows Karate.
You know, I draw with my fingertip. I think that's part of my problem.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. I draw with my fingertip. I don't use a stylus. I don't use a pencil. I draw directly on my screen of my computer. I use Adobe Illustrator, and so it's just different from a lot of other creators too. Like, I don't use the usual software, but I'm a graphic designer, art director, creative director for a living. That's what I've been doing for 20-something years. And so it was the day that I stopped thinking of them as two different things, like that this is how I draw comics and this is how I make graphic design. The moment I said, I can take both, I can take what I do over here, I'm going to do over here and bring it together. And that's when that happened. Like, I mean, like, my old original artwork for Latex Avenger, it sucks. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's a big reason why nobody will see it, because it's so bad. But except one thing, I'd like to thank my brother-in-law, Greg, who colored those first 2 issues of Latex Avenger. Greg, you're a mensch, buddy. Thank you so much.
Shout out Greg.
Shout out Greg Saxon. He's the unsung hero on this book. Greg put up with me for 2 issues, and on the 3rd issue said, "Fuck you, no way. It's too much work. No, figure it out yourself." And issue 3 was the only one that I actually did top to bottom completely by myself. With and that was a humbling experience and also a life-saving experience, because I was going through such a terrible time in my life. That book gave me so much purpose during just such a bad time. So as much as that book is probably got some really screwed up things going on in it that nobody needs to read, or, you know, I'll send you a copy, Katie. Wow.
Yeah,
okay. No shit.
Okay.
Yeah,
No. It's okay. You have your favorite. I get it.
No.
Okay.
So, as much as that book actually was one of my favorites, only because what it meant to me during that time in my life. Because when things were bad, it was something that it gave me purpose to keep going every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it got me through a real tough time. Got me through a real tough time. So real grateful for that book.
That's so awesome. Yeah. Your work has been awesome. We enjoy it so very much. But I think we might be wrapping up around here.
Okay,
I think that we've hit a lot of our.
But if you want to, well, firstly, if there's anything else you want to talk about, you can hit on that. But then if you want to promote something, any other project where people can find you, anything like that, I'm sure we'll link your social media in the description. But
I'd appreciate that. Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Okay. First of all, y'all were a lot of fun to get to talk to, or just talk at, I think, more like I don't think y'all spoke but 3 words. My bad.
You were a lot of fun to listen to.
Oh my God. Embarrassing. Anyway, no, I mean, as far as things I'm working on now, Bigfoot Knows Karate is the main thrust these days. That's what we're doing here. And it's Bigfoot Knows Karate Hinnagon will actually ships out in March to people who backed that. So look for that. We had some things happen in the back end there that we've been working out. And the book's going to be strong, though. We added in a couple of pages that we needed to do, and had a couple of things that needed to cut. And so I'm really proud of that book, y'all. So Adam Caswell, Casey Allen, and myself, it's a very cool book. Check it out, Bigfoot Knows Karate Hinnagon. That'll be hitting lesserknowncomics.com upon its release. You'll be able to get your digital downloads from lesserknowncomics.com for that, as well as you can get issue 1 and 2's digital downloads from there. Or if you want to buy the books, they will be available really soon, because Lesser Known's about to redo their website. So we're redoing their website right now. So they'll be, buy comics. Other than that, I've got a couple of shows. When is this going to launch? When does this drop?
This will come out a week from Saturday.
Okay.
Yes, the 10th of February.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're in Austin, the day that this actually comes out, go over to Bat City Comics and Games and come by for a signing with myself and Robert Garcia from Retribution. We are doing a signing at Bat City Comics in Austin, in South Austin. So come hang out. But you got to today.
Book it. We post in the morning.
Right now.
Time.
Yeah, we do. We post in the morning, so you can do it.
You got time. Run.
Go right now. Leave your house.
Yeah, and otherwise, if you're in Austin, in April, I'll be at Staple, the Independent Media Expo, in April 13th, 14th. Central Texas Comic Con, the 27th, 28th of April. Comic Palooza and Labor Day or Memorial Day weekend in May. There's other stuff, but yeah, if you're on the East Coast, come see me in Baltimore in September. So,
Hey, that's where I am.
Hey, come see me in Baltimore.
Come to C2E2.
My sister used to go to school.
I tried to go to
near
C2E2. I didn't even get a rejection letter.
Oh no.
Okay. Yes, and it wasn't even worth a rejection letter this year. At least Emerald City was kind enough to say we'll put you on a waiting list. So
that's something.
Well, don't worry. They send out surveys after saying, "Who do you want to see?" I'll put my 2 cents in.
All right, you do that. I'll definitely give you a copy of Latex Avenger 3 then. So, anyway.
But yeah, I think that's going to draw us to the conclusion of another episode of the Strange Saturday Super Show. Join us this Wednesday for the next full episode of the Script Heroes podcast. And as always, we'll see you next time, Comic Geeks.